Hello guys, welcome back in SL Manhwa. Let's continue. As Lu Sheng's body radiated a dark, ominous energy, a cold mist began to fill the air. His gaze, sharp and unyielding, fixed on Sam and Kina, assessing them with a calm yet unsettling intensity. "You have nothing left to offer," he murmured, his voice echoing through the mist. Sam and Kina shared a fearful glance. From their perspective, Lu Sheng was not the man they once knew. He was something far more dangerous. Kina swallowed. Her nerves tore as she attempted to stand her ground. But before she could react, Lu Sheng's hand shot forward, crackling with restrained power. He stopped just short of grabbing her, instead releasing a surge of mental force that sent a chill down her spine. His power hung in the air, suffocating and cold, binding her in place. Kina's body began to tremble as she struggled to break free of the invisible hold. But this time, Lu Sheng didn't strike. Instead, he loosened his grip and stepped back, watching her with a bitter smile. "Run if you think you can escape," he taunted. Sam seized the moment, lunging forward to pull Kina away. Together, they stumbled back, and just as they were about to retreat into the darkness, Lu Sheng's hand rose again, releasing a wave of energy that lit up the sky with a blinding brilliance. The shockwave sent them sprawling, but when they looked up, they saw only his silhouette disappearing into the shadows. Meanwhile, back at Lianshu's villa, the news of Lu Sheng's survival and Sam and Kina's near escape came as a bitter blow. Furious, Lianshu clenched her fists, her calm exterior shattering. "How could they fail me again?" She seethed, her anger palpable. Plans and contingencies raced through her mind as she prepared for her next move, realizing that Lu Sheng's resolve was stronger than ever. Back in the misty night, Lu Sheng looked up at a golden stairway that appeared in the sky, a mysterious path leading to greater power. As he ascended, his mind was filled with questions and determination. His journey was just beginning, and he knew that, compared to the true warriors of his world, he was still far from his peak. Yet, his spirit burned with an intensity that would guide him forward, pushing the limits of his strength. With a furious glare, Lianshu slammed her fists on the table. She had invested a considerable amount in this high-stakes operation by hiring the Black Magic Society, and the failure was unacceptable. On the table, a tablet displayed a live video call with a suited man who appeared slightly rattled by her outburst. "Please, calm down," he said cautiously, apologizing for the mission's failure. He explained that they had suffered significant losses, with her target eliminating 4 high-ranking demon pillars, something they hadn't foreseen. Lianshu's anger simmered, but the shock in her eyes betrayed her fear. This was the first time she felt their control slipping, and it filled her with unease. Blaming the society's weakness, she grasped the tablet tightly, unwilling to let this setback deter her. Her expression hardened as she demanded that they finish what they started and eliminate Lu Sheng entirely. "Surely, you don't expect me to believe the Great Black Magic Society is incapable of dealing with a mere level 8 opponent," she sneered. The man on the screen remained composed and suggested that one of the society's demonic gods could easily handle the situation. His calm tone suggested experience, but he raised 2 fingers and added, "But it'll cost you 20 times more." Lianshu's initial anger turned to confusion. He explained that sending any of the 3 demonic gods into the dragon realm would spark international outrage, potentially drawing the attention of 9th-level martial saints. These actions, he reminded her, were not trivial, and the society was risking much by aiding her, mainly to honor an old favor owed to her late husband. This struck a nerve with Lianshu, who scowled at the screen. In a fit of rage, she threw the tablet across the room, cracking its screen but not breaking the connection. Despite the shattered screen, the man remained on the call and stated that, given the substantial losses her actions had caused them, the Black Magic Society would require compensation. Details of the amount, he said, would follow in an email. Overcome with fury, Lianshu stomped on the tablet, shattering it completely. She muttered to herself in frustration, unwilling to believe that the society would demand such reparations after their own failure. Her plans were now in jeopardy, and as she stood there, fists clenched, she realized she might have to reconsider her alliances and strategies to succeed in her goal. Lianshu sat in her room, filled with frustration. She couldn't believe that an organization as powerful as the Black Magic Society could fail her in such a crucial mission. She had invested so much time, resources, and her late husband's connections, all for revenge against Lu Sheng. Yet, despite every attempt, he remained resilient, turning her plans against her. Her husband's last words rang in her mind, urging her to leave the past behind. But surrendering wasn't an option she could stomach, not with so much pride on the line. In an attempt to calm herself, she went to her room, hoping that sleep would offer some solace. Laying down, however, she was haunted by memories of past failures. Frustrated thoughts spiraled as she drifted into a troubled sleep. Some later, she awoke with a start, feeling an eerie unease in the room. For a moment, her mind played tricks, making her feel as though she wasn't alone. She glanced at the door, half expecting someone to be there. The tension weighed heavily on her as she remembered her brother lion Jayabai and her lingering guilt over not avenging his past struggles. Trying to shake off the lingering unease, Lianshu called out for water, hoping it might ease her nerves. After a short while, one of her maids entered quietly, carrying a glass on a tray. Lianshu accepted it, hands trembling, and sipped the water, her mind still clouded with thoughts of past regrets and lost opportunities. The maids exchanged glances, concerned but used to these nightly disturbances. They knew Lianshu often wrestled with frustration over her losses. As the moon cast a pale glow through the large window, she looked out at the city, reflecting on her relentless pursuit and wondering if she'd ever find the closure she sought. The night wore on, and her gaze softened, contemplating whether it was time to seek peace rather than vengeance. As the maid approached with a glass of water, Lianshu, lost in thought about her friend, Lion Jayabai, took it without opening her eyes. She murmured a quiet "thank you" and began to drink. But moments later, she felt an odd, bitter taste. Startled, she opened her eyes, expecting to see clear water. Yet the glass held a dark, inky substance that seemed to swirl on its own. Panicked, she dropped it to the floor, shattering the glass as the strange liquid spread across the room, pulsing with a faint glow. In the eerie silence that followed, Lianshu heard a whisper, a voice, distant yet familiar, calling her name. She turned to find Lion Jayabai standing in the doorway, her face shadowed and expression distant. That something was wrong. Jayabai's eyes were blank, her movements slow and robotic, like she was under some kind of spell. "Do you like my gift?" she murmured, her voice hollow. Lianshu took a step back, realizing that something or someone was controlling her friend. But before she could react, another figure appeared. It was Lianshu, standing just outside the room, his body surrounded by an ominous green mist. His gaze locked onto Lianshu, a twisted smile spreading across his face as he raised his hand, and Jayabai's movements mirrored his. With growing terror, Lianshu understood that Lu Sheng had somehow enchanted her friend to torment her. The room began to shift and distort, blurring her sense of reality. She tried to scream, but her voice was muted by the pressure of the dark magic in the air. Desperately, she looked into Jayabai's eyes, searching for a sign of her friend's true self. But Jayabai's expression remained lifeless. Just as the darkness seemed to consume her, a sudden surge of light shattered the illusion, and the mysterious figure vanished. Lianshu fell to her knees, exhausted, as she felt a reassuring hand on her shoulder, a monk from a nearby temple who had sensed the disturbance and intervened. With his guidance, she rose, knowing that this encounter was far from over. But now she had allies and the strength to confront Lu Sheng and end his dark influence over those she cared about.